What's up? Welcome back. My name is Vikram Deol, and on this episode, I want to talk about why we have such a hard time manifesting our goals. And one of the reasons why we have a hard time to manifest our goals is because we embody, right? Like our body will actually hold on to familiar feelings. So I've been studying Joe Dispenza, and I've been really diving deep into this, what our body feels and how we hold on to our emotional home and our emotional stresses, and how those emotional stresses keep replaying themselves in our life over and over and over and over again. And one of the examples that he used in one of his teachings was, you decide one day that you're going to quit drinking coffee and quit eating donuts. And I come and sit right in front of you with the donut, and I take a bite of it, chocolate donut from your favorite place with a nice cup of coffee. You can smell it. And your body starts to do what? If I tell you that your favorite food is in front of you and to close your eyes, what does your body start doing? It starts creating saliva. And that creates the response in your brain saying, I want that. And what we have to do is we have to reprogram our body and mind. We have to reprogram ourselves so that we are not controlled by the body and we are controlled by the mind. One of the big reasons why people don't have success is because what do you think they live in? The future, the present, or the past? Most people are living in the past, and they're projecting that onto their future, and they're bypassing the present moment. So we have past about, in the past, we didn't do this, we didn't do that. So we have anxiety, right? In the past, we have anxiety. We're projecting our past feelings, our past emotions, our past failures, our past on our future. And then in the present moment, we become stuck, right? So we take the past, we project it into the future. And in the present, when we have the opportunity to take action, we get stuck. Because in the past, somebody said something bad to me. In the past, I had a failure. In the past, right, I didn't have the success I wanted. Now we're going to carry that to the future, and we're going to say, well, this is just the type of person I am. I went to the gym and I stopped. So I'm just not an athletic person. I'm not a person who's fit. My mom was right. I have big bones, right? No, you're just projecting the past on the future, right? As humans, we are allowed to make mistakes, and that's okay. However, if we continue to make the same mistake over and over and over again, that becomes our lifestyle. That becomes our habits. That becomes our attitude. That becomes us, right? So you had a bad day. Okay, it happens. You didn't go to the gym. Okay, it happens. You didn't make your prospect calls. Okay, it happens, right? You didn't do your meditation. Okay, it happens. You ate that chocolate cake. Okay, it happens. But is that going to be the norm for you? Or is that going to be like, hey, I realize that this happened. I'm conscious that this happened. I realized that, when I was about to pick up the phone, I was about to make my videos, right? I was about to do the activities that can actually change my future. My body, right? I started to feel anxiety, right? I started to panic. What if they say they don't like me? What if they hang up on me? What if they say, you're dumb, you're fat, you're stupid, you're ugly, you're an idiot? What if they say those things again to me again? And you allowed that to control, right? You allowed that to control your mind. And that's okay, right? That's okay. It happens. Nobody's perfect. We're humans. We're doing this human experience together. But when we learn to silence the body, right? When we learn to silence the body with the mind, we change everything. And one of the things that I've been working on for the last few years, right, and I've had my ups and my downs, is meditation. And one of the things that's really challenging for people when we talk about meditation is, well, Vikram, my mind's racing, I'm antsy, I'm thinking about the clock, I'm thinking about all the things that I need to do. And as I've studied meditation more and more, that's what we've trained our body to do. We've trained our body to grab the cell phone in the morning. We've trained our body to grab the coffee before we grab the water. We've trained our body to grab the high caffeine drink in the aluminum can versus grabbing the water and the minerals that are actually going to fuel our cells. We've trained our body to go for the sweet, sugary processed foods instead of going for the fruit, or instead of going for the high fat, high protein that's going to actually make us feel satiated. We've trained ourselves to like certain things and not like other things. We've trained our body to have anxiety when we pick up the phone. We've trained our body to have anxiety when we think about doing a video. And so one of the things that meditation teaches us is to silence the body's natural reactions that we've trained it. Now, if you're 8 years old, it's very easy to silence the body. If you're 40 years old and you've been doing the same habits for 25 years, 10 years, 15 years, do you think it might take a little bit more time to silence the body, right? Do you think it might take a little bit more time to silence the body? And the answer is yes. When you've been having the same habits that no longer serve you for an extended period of time, it takes time to silence those emotions. It takes time to quiet those down. And what happens is that we sit down, we meditate, and after 10 minutes, we start thinking, oh my gosh, I have a call to make. Oh my gosh, I have my kids to pick up. Oh my gosh, I have my laundry to drop off. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And the body then controls the mind, whereas I don't have time to meditate. Oh, who has time to how can anybody meditate? Who's got time for this? I have so many things, but I have this and I have that, I have this and I have this. And guess what? The person who meditates for 2 hours a day has the same things that you have, but you're not able to meditate for 5 minutes a day. So then you go to the grocery store and you're rushing through the grocery store. Then you go to the laundry and you're rushing and you're running and you're rushing and you're running. And guess what? Eventually over time, you get into a car accident, or you slip and fall on some stairs, or you have a boo-boo where you get hurt. And you say, well, that wasn't my fault. Actually, it was our fault, right? Because as you're rushing and as you're being controlled by the body and you're being controlled by outside influences that tell you what you have time or no time for, you are now allowing those outside influences, right? You're allowing those outside influences to control you. And that makes you rush and rush and rush and rush in speed. And you're not paying attention in the car to driving. You're not present. You're thinking about the future. I'm going to be late. I'm going to be late. I'm going to be late. You're having anxiety. Your hands are shaking. You're sweating. You're overweight. You don't feel good. You're always running to the doctor's office. Your body's screaming at you. Your mind's screaming at you. Your relationships are screaming at you. And boom, you crash your car. Guess what? Now you have to sit in a hospital, unfortunately. Now you have to go deal with your car accident. Now you have to deal with the insurance company. Now you have to deal with the police. Now you have to do all these extra things, but I thought you didn't have any time. I thought you didn't have time for anything. You didn't have time to sit to meditate for 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 minutes. But now you have all this time to go see the chiropractor, talk to the lawyers, talk to the insurance company, take your car to this place, go pick up a rental car, check on your car, do this and that. Guess what? You always had the time. You always had the time, but you've trained your body in such a way that it needs to feel this anxiousness 24/7. And if you don't have that anxiousness 24/7, then your body doesn't feel like it's at home. Well, so how do we train that out of us? Because if you want to change your life, right, if you want to have the success that you want, you have to train that out of you. Well, how do you train that out of you? What do you need to do? Well, you need to teach the body to shut the front door. Right? You need to teach the body to sit like you've taught your dog to sit. Well, Vic, I'm not a dog. Okay, that's fine. But you're also not a human because you're not living in the present moment. You're living in the past, projecting it on the future. You're never present. You're not present with your family. You're not present with yourself. You're not present with your clients. You're always rushing, frantic, freaking out, right? And guess what? We've all met that person, right? You've met the person freaking out, frantic, always shaking. Like they can't even get words out of their mouth because they're thinking about so many things. Their body's constantly at edge. They're pumping in the caffeine all day long because they're tired, right? Well, of course you're tired. If your body's always stressed out, of course you're tired. So the way you change that is you sit in meditation. And when you start to meditate, guess what? You're not going to do what you would consider a good job. But there's no grade in meditation. Here's the thing about meditation. The way we get to the present state is we got to let, when I learned in transcendental meditation a long time ago, is that all the thoughts that keep coming up, right? There's all these thoughts that keep coming up. If you think about them as little bubbles in the brain, right? There are all these thoughts that keep coming up, bubbles to the surface, bubbles to the surface, bubbles to the surface. Well, if you don't meditate regularly, you have a lot of thoughts. So you sit down and you quiet yourself and you say, I'm going to meditate for half an hour. And within 30 seconds, pop, 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 right? It's like dropping a rock in a body of water. It's going to have a huge ripple. There's going to be a bunch of stuff. Or if you open a bottle of champagne, right? Bubble, 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 bubble. But if you let that champagne glass sit there for a long time, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, they get less and less bubbly. And eventually that becomes flat. But when you sit for a long enough time with your body, eventually, okay, well, I can't break him. I can't break her. All the thoughts, she's not moving. He's not getting up. He's just sitting there. Let me just throw some more at him. Let me throw some more. 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 Oh, I have to go to the bathroom. Oh, I'm thirsty. Well, guess what? There's plenty of times you sat there and held your pee for hours and hours and hours, right? Because you're at your favorite concert, right? And you did not want to miss a single beat, right? What if they played your favorite song? I'm just going to hold that pee. I'm going to hold that pee. I'm going to hold that pee. I'm going to sweat it out. I'm just not peeing. And you held that pee for hours. And we've all been dehydrated before, right? We've all walked in the park on a hot day for way too long without water. So your body will adapt, but it's going to try to break you because it doesn't want to be broken. Your cells are energetically charged to keep you at a high level of stress. So instead of that high level of stress, you're saying, sit the front door down. I'll tell you when to get up. Just like you do with your dog when you're training him. You say, hey, you're going to sit over there on that pillow. And when I tell you to get up, you get up. Until then, don't move. Your dog looks at you with the sad puppy eyes and you say, no, not breaking, not breaking, not breaking. And eventually your dog just is like, all right, cool, I'm chill. And he lets down the stress. His anxiety goes down. And then you say, okay, you can come back to me. He's like, oh, okay, cool. No stress, no stress. So we need to learn to do the same thing. The challenge isn't the thoughts. The challenge is controlling the body so that we can reprogram the cells. And if we can reprogram the cells, right, and it takes time, right, when something doesn't work and you get frustrated and you go back to your old self because that's the programming, to get frustrated, to get angry, to get upset. And then you realize, wait a minute, I shouldn't have got upset. I need to stay conscious. I need to stay mindful. I need to keep my head down. But we don't, right? We don't because we allow the stress in. So the way we control that is we sit with our body and we tell our body to sit like our dog. And we tell our body not to move. We tell our body everything's going to be fine. And we just sit there and the thoughts come and they come and they come and they come and they come. And eventually, guess what, you guys? The thoughts stop coming and we get to the present state. And that's when change happens, right? But it's not going to happen overnight. Like just because you did it once doesn't mean that your life's going to be great. But if you do that consistently, day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out, eventually the stress in your life starts to disappear. The illnesses in your life start to disappear. You become more calm and collected. You start being able to change the scenario, not because the scenario is because of you. The scenario is going to be the same. Stressful situation, somebody yelled at you, client screamed at you, problems with this, problems with that. But when you change yourself, now those are like, oh, yeah, that is what it is. I live in this world. There are going to be problems. I'm going to have a flat tire. I'm going to have a challenge with my spouse. I'm going to have a challenge with a client. No problem. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. The difference is that now you're not stressed by it because you've learned to control the body. And then you can start to plug in the present moment thoughts that you want, not the future. So you guys, the key to manifestation, the key to changing, the key to hitting your goals isn't by living in the past, projecting it on the future. It's controlling the body in such a way that over time, the stresses that cause you stress today no longer stress you out.